And just like that, everything good about your game has burst into flames. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 moments that ruined video games. For this list, we're looking at moments that managed to completely tarnish our gaming sessions. Don't be surprised if you experience a little deja vu.
Jason! Jason!
Number 20, Arson Cases, LA Noire.
Biggs will show you the ropes, Phelps.
This is arson. There are no ropes.
LA Noire was a lot of fun for the first 3/4 of it. Who wouldn't want to run around as a detective in the 40s interrogating suspects, solving murders, and getting caught in car chases? Well, all that excitement came to a grinding halt when Cole's career came crashing down and he's quickly shoved into the arson department.
Hand over the gun. Keep your head down until your board hearing. I forbid you to make any comments to the press.
It's at this point in the game where puzzles become more obtuse, as finding clues at crime scenes is like finding needles in a haystack, and the pacing of the game comes to a bewildering crawl. Honestly, we can't blame you if you stopped playing because of these cases.
Everyone else is selling, but you're the holdout, aren't you?
I was the last. I thought I could hold out for a better price.
Number 19, Blighttown, Dark Souls. We'd happily replay a good portion of the Dark Souls series, but when it comes to the first game, our excitement levels aren't as high as they would be for the second and third games. Dark Souls built its reputation on its tough but fair difficulty, demanding players time their moves carefully and knowing precisely when to attack, when to block, and when to dodge roll. That all goes out the window when players reach Blighttown, as this area suffers from frame rate issues, making it tricky to time your moves right. Thankfully, the problem has been fixed in the 2017 Dark Souls Remastered, 6 years later. Number 18, Stage 4, Parappa the Rapper.
I ain't got no time for nobody. My style is rich, dope, fat, and rich. We'll make a cake today that looks rich.
Parappa has always been one of those obscure PlayStation mascots that people fondly remember, but when his first game was remastered in 2017, we were reminded why many of us didn't see the game through to the end.
Take out the shrimps, they plan to purchase.
As if the awkward timing wasn't bad enough in the first 3 stages, Stage 4 made the game even more infuriating. Even though it feels like you're pressing buttons at the right time, the game will constantly throw you between the good and bad ratings. What more does this game want? Hell if we know. We stopped after hearing the song Reset for the 100th time. Number 17, Marauders and Tentacles, Doom Eternal.
My eyes have been opened. Let me help you to see, Slayer.
While Doom Eternal has been met with mostly positive reception, there are 2 enemies in the game that are the frequent talk of contention. Tentacles often feel like a sucker punch and lead to a sudden end of many Ultra Nightmare runs. Marauders, on the other hand, have been lambasted for how they slow down combat, how they can only be attacked during a very specific window, and how they must be fought one-on-one in order for players to stand a chance. It's honestly no surprise that so many players are fuming because of these 2, and it has sparked a discussion on removing them. Number 16, Zen, Half-Life. One cannot deny the marvel that was the first Half-Life. At the time of its release, no other shooter had accomplished the same quality of cinematics and AI. However, there are very few players out there that will defend the Zen chapters. What made these chapters so odd was how the level design required players to employ their platforming abilities, which is something you don't force upon first-person shooter players. It didn't help that the environment was so barren that it made Zen so unbearably uninteresting, and the healing pools slowed down pacing drastically. It's no wonder it's the most forgettable part of the game.
The border world, then, is in our control for the time being.
Number 15, Bunny Day, Animal Crossing New Horizons. What was supposed to be the exciting start of seasonal events in New Horizons quickly became one of the most resented. All was right on our island paradise until Zipper showed up and started trashing the place with freaking eggs everywhere. Everywhere! Fishing in your river? Egg. Shaking trees? Egg. Chipping at a rock? Egg. Shoot down a balloon? Egg, 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 egg. The madness had tormented so many players that Nintendo had to reduce their spawn rate. And the worst part of it is, you didn't even need the eggs. Just get the DIY recipes and you'll get that creepy Zipper toy. Our anime guru Ashley said it best on Twitter once the event was over.
Is it safe to play Animal Crossing again yet?
Number 14, Finding the Tribals, Force Gemini. And here we have one of the rare cases of a fetch quest within a fetch quest. While the first half of the game has you shooting and exploring your way through a unique variety of alien worlds, the second half of Force Gemini, you have to go back and collect 12 parts of a spaceship in order to access the last level. One of these parts is locked behind another requirement, finding every tribal in the game, all 282 of them. This is a task made unbearable by the game's unreliable save system, as it only records a tally of how many tribals you collected, but doesn't specify which ones. Because of this, many players never saw the final level. Number 13, Jason, Heavy Rain.
Jason! 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 Jason!
Heavy Rain isn't for everyone, at least not for those looking for action-packed gameplay. However, those who were looking for an intriguing story were treated to an intense murder mystery. That isn't to say Heavy Rain was perfect, as some of its unconventional gameplay made the game the butt of many jokes, from its dancing speech commands to requiring a button prompt for literally every action. Of course, we could never forget the insanely ridiculous Jason segment. Aimlessly wander around pressing X to Jason every second? We understand this moment is supposed to strengthen our bond with Jason, but some of us ended up turning the game off and leaving the kid lost forever.
Jason! Jason! Jason!
Number 12, the Triforce Quest, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. When a game is padding a quest out, it can feel like we're wasting our time. The Legend of Zelda has made us feel that way a couple of times, especially in Wind Waker, which has a glancing blemish on an otherwise perfect face. The Triforce Quest will task you with tracking down and collecting 8 Triforce shards. But before that, you must obtain 8 Triforce charts, which requires a lot of backtracking, and they have to be deciphered by Tingle for just under 400 rupees each. Basically, this is an overcomplicated, unnecessarily long fetch quest, and it caused many players to either quit or remain as salty as the game's vast ocean for the remainder of the game. Number 11, The Tower of Blades, God of War. This wasn't just a headache, it was a nightmarish migraine. In the first God of War, Kratos must escape Hades by scaling a massive pillar of spinning blades. Sounds simple, until you get hit and fall all the way back down to the bottom. This caused many players to give up and never play it again. Although this problem did not go unnoticed by the developers. In an interview with Games TM, director David Jaffe admitted that this segment was not tested, and focus testing was skipped because they thought everything was fine with it. This was something he regrets doing. Well, at least he's honest about it. Number 10, the whole Volcano sequence, Resident Evil 5. one of the most polarizing games in the franchise. Resident Evil 5 made some drastic changes to the series' formula by making co-op gameplay its main focus. Resident Evil has been known to feature some of the most ridiculous moments in gaming, but none has been quite as absurd as this. As the final level in the game, we witnessed Albert Wesker turn into a tentacled garbage monster, and we were subjected to quite possibly the most insane QuickTime event of all time, Chris Redfield punching a boulder. We honestly don't know what was ruined more, our thumbs or this game. Number 9. The impossible levels, The Lion King. If you somehow managed to conquer the Lion King's convoluted monkey puzzle, then you got the unfortunate experience of playing one of the most difficult platformers ever made. Chances are you eventually became so frustrated that a controller was thrown, or you uttered your very first obscenity before officially quitting. What if we told you there was a reason for the game's unforgiving difficulty? According to Lewis Castle, co-founder of developer Westwood Studios, Disney believed that if players managed to beat the game, they would not buy it. That's a fair point, but this was a game designed for kids, so challenging wasn't a friendly term to younger players. At least Aladdin was easier, more or less. Number 8. Smashing a gate with demon babies. Ghostbusters, the video game.
A few concussive hits and the hinges might just break loose.
When you force players to use a mechanic that works half the time, maybe don't make it the primary focus of a puzzle. That's exactly what Ghostbusters did in its final level. To get the Ecto-1 through the cemetery, you have to slime tether flying demon babies to smash open a gate. The problem is that not only is this the only way to defeat this particular enemy, but the slime tether doesn't always function properly. Most of the time, it'll smash the nuisances into other things, or fail entirely and do nothing. Even on the easiest difficulty, the harassment you'll endure from the demon babies is enough to make anyone quit, especially since you'll encounter them again shortly after.
Timber!
Number 7. Batmobile Sections. Batman Arkham Knight.
Just a matter of time before I find you, Dark Knight. We've lost the Cobra. Maintaining search pattern.
For years, fans had been itching to take the Batmobile out for a spin in the Batman Arkham games. Well, developer Rocksteady made it happen for the final chapter in the series. And it was certainly not what everyone was hoping for. Many players felt glued to the Batmobile because of some missions requiring the player to race a time limit or blow up enemy tanks. Don't worry though, the Batmobile's cannons are non-lethal. How even? That makes no sense, it's a freaking tank! Arkham Knight was not a terrible game, unless you played the PC version. But to many Dark Knight fans, this would be one whimper of a finale.
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
let's finish this.
Number 6. The speeder bike levels, Battletoads. Battletoads might be one of the most difficult platformers in gaming, but there are a few portions that are somewhat doable. What isn't doable are the speeder bike levels, which will lull you into a sense of easy patterns before demanding faster and faster reactions. Needless to say, this is not a game for the easily frustrated, as you'll find yourself swearing at your screen and going into a blind rage. Honestly, we'll never know how some people have managed to beat the game. Then again, we'll never even attempt it because the cycle of fury will just begin anew. It's best for both us and our masochistic love for Battletoads. Number 5. Iden Versio's Complete 180. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Eliminate the rebels and return to the Corvus. The Emperor's plan must not fail.
Yes, sir. Agent Hask with me. Agent Miko, cover us from here.
Prior to launch, DICE and Electronic Arts touted the single-player campaign as an opportunity to play as the bad guy, a chance to see the perspective from the Empire as they take down those rebel scum. Seems like they were ready to show something interesting in the first half.
I did not call for you, Commander Versio.
Vardos is our target.
One of them, yes.
Why? The entire planet and its people, they're loyal to the Empire.
However, the entire campaign falls apart when Aiden suddenly defects to the rebels because "You destroyed my home planet, I hate you, Dad." In short, it was less of a seeing through the eyes of a stormtrooper and more of a cop-out to tell a story that heavily borrows motives and cues from other Star Wars stories. Oh, and she falls in love with Del, as if the story couldn't get any more tropey.
You really think I'm gonna let you just float out here alone? Del. We're Inferno Squad. You and me.
Number 4, the Animus, the Assassin's Creed series.
Great, that should do it. We'll email you the receipt. Till next time, take care, Sean.
Bye-bye, yes, bye. And don't expect any more free coffee.
To newcomers, Assassin's Creed seems like a series of grand adventures that take place throughout different time periods. This belief is not entirely wrong, but it's also why many new players have left disappointed. For example, Black Flag boasts an excellent experience and is regarded as the best in the series. However, when the Animus is ham-fisted into the plot, it feels like you just took on a second job. This completely destroys the immersion, and it's enough to cause any new players to delete the game from their system. Can you really blame them?
Speaking of which, our trailer is finished. Would you like to see it? I owe you that much.
Number 3, Big's campaign, Sonic Adventure.
Froggy? Uh-oh.
Many fans fondly remember Sonic Adventure for its open exploration and quality graphics. Well, at the time they were. Is it the best Sonic game ever? Well, it could have been had it not been for Big the Cat. Only a terrible character like him could deliver such an abysmal experience. In case you were never subjected to it, Big's campaign involves fishing for his pet Froggy in various levels. Yes, it's incredibly tedious, and the poor controls certainly didn't make the experience any more tolerable. Needless to say, many of us put the controller down to go question our life choices and the purpose of searching for this damn frog. Number 2, The World is Just a Video Game, Star Ocean, Till the End of Time. Imagine clocking so many hours into an RPG, and when the story's reaching its climax, you witness a plot twist that completely decimates your hard work. Star Ocean did exactly that until the end of time. About 2/3 of the way into the game, everyone in this space-exploring adventure ends up in a parallel universe, where they learn that their universe is all just an MMORPG.
The Eternal Sphere is a universe inside a simulator. Earth is one of the planets inside that universe.
More surprisingly, they handle this reality-shattering truth surprisingly well. This revelation doesn't just dampen the adventure, it also undermines all of the events of previous Star Ocean titles. And since then, the franchise hasn't been able to achieve its once notable reputation.
We're just characters living inside a simulator?
That's right.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some dishonorable mentions.
Humanity's imprisonment is a kindness.
Want more video game content? Check out our gaming channel Mojo Plays and discover games and ideas you never knew existed. With more lists, breakdowns, and our latest series, Arcade Roulette.
Justin and John are in!
Oh.
Hey, is that Porky Pig? There's a lot of things being ripped off in this game.
Number 1, the ending, Mass Effect 3.
Because of you, humanity is already undone. That's not true!
Look, ending a video game on a high note can be hard, we get it. As for Mass Effect 3, that backlash was intense. When it launched, critics and fans praised Mass Effect 3 for its combat, music, voice acting, just about everything was as perfect as Mama's cooking, except the ending. The ending was a complete mess, as both fans and critics pointed out contradictions and inconsistencies in the narrative, expressing their disappointment and frustration. How could BioWare end the series on such a sour note? This prompted BioWare to release free DLC known as the Extended Cut, which added more to the story while resolving a few problems. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.